as all of you know, as Elijah kind of pointed out too, this is just a Q&A. There's tons of you, so I'm going to let you guys just go straight to the questions. Normally I warm up with a few questions, but I'm already seeing hands go up, so we're just going to go straight here. So we have, as he pointed out, there's a microphone going around, so just make sure that they notice you. We got one up front here. Let's just get started with, let's get started with crowd questions. I won't even warm it up here.
Here I go.
Here we go. He's excited.
Superman's ready.
Yeah.
What's your mother's name? It's just like a prank show.
My actual question is, did you prefer working on Batman the Animated Series or Justice League?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Batman the Animated Series has a special place in my heart because it's where we originated all the characters. When you start a new show, in '91 when we started recording the show, we were only working from sketches. No one had actually seen anything yet. All we had were outlines of what the characters were going to look like. So the first 6 months, in animation, the actors go first. We record first, we record like a radio play. And then the recordings are sent off to artists, and the artists paint the show. And then it comes back for a process called ADR, where you sync up the visual with the vocal. And so for those first 6 months, the first episodes were being painted, no one had seen anything. We were recording shows like radio plays, just using our imaginations. And then when they first came back and I saw the rich color and the full symphony sound and the dramatic effects, I thought, good God, I can't believe I've been a part of this thing. So those early years involved a lot of actor imagination and a lot of actor interaction, like Mark Hamill and I in the booth together, just going crazy. And that cast, Ron Perlman, Mark Hamill, John Glover, Adrienne Barbeau, it was just such a great cast. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. So there's a special place in my heart for it because it was a time when we established all those characters and we're discovering that world together. And also, selfishly, I had a lot to do. It was Batman. So I had a lot in every episode. When you're doing an ensemble show like Justice League, there are 7 principal characters. And especially when you're the outsider, which Batman is, you're kind of always on the periphery of the action, commenting on it almost in a way. And they work that into the stories. So in Justice League, he was a very important character. He was kind of the soul. He was the conscience of the Justice League. But in terms of actual action, I didn't have as much to do, So the animated series, I'd say, was really my favorite.
So
that's my job.
As we're lining up another question, I just wanted to ask, you pointed out those first 6 months of us doing like a radio show. Did that connect you at all to like the history of the character? Because in the 40s, they did that for Batman.
Well, that's what's interesting about my experience with getting this job. I don't know if you realize this. This was my first animated job. I was a theater actor. I was from New York. I did Broadway and off-Broadway. I did a lot of Shakespeare. I trained at Juilliard. I was a classic theater actor. So when I went in on this and I met Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski and Andrea Romano, they said, "What's your experience with Batman?" I said, "Well, I know the Adam West show from the 60s. And he went, no. We love Adam West, but that's not what we're doing. He said, "Don't you know about The Dark Knight?" And I said, "No." He said, "Didn't you read comic books as a kid?" He said, "No." He said, "What kind of childhood did you have?" So he said, he had to educate me. I had to be brought totally up to speed on, the death of his parents, the film noir, New York, dark, gritty, avenging their deaths, living in the shadows, misunderstood, dual identity. I said, "You're telling the Hamlet story. This is a Shakespearean tragedy." And so it's interesting, no one's put it in that perspective before. So I, as a theater actor, and as a classically trained theater actor, was just bringing what I knew to it. But when you think about it, what better role to start with in animation than Batman? He is a classic. He's a classic hero. He is the dark, tragic. He is Achilles. He's Orestes. He's Hamlet. He's all those characters rolled into one. He's just our generation's version of those stories. So approaching it from the perspective that I came from was kind of perfect. It was weird that I happened to be in that audition, but it was kind of a perfect hand in glove situation. So to answer your question, I had to learn about the whole legacy after I got the job. And Mark Hamill was a great teacher. Here he is. I should make it much louder.
No, I decided to wait and take it easy and let you finish your story.
Okay.
Everybody, John
But now that I'm here.
You're a great teacher.
I don't even belong on the stage anymore, but I think we've got questions already going. They're ready.
Okay, cool. You got questions, let them rip.
Well, that's that situation I was describing earlier. I was just telling them it was the first animated audition I ever had. I wasn't a voiceover guy. And so I was in the booth and I'd met all these incredible people. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know who Bruce Timm was or Andre Romano. And I was just a theater actor. And they described the character to me. So it was one of those really unusual situations in LA, which really doesn't happen very often, where you're just an unknown commodity in an audition, and you get to use your imagination. And as they described the character to me, I just went to a place that seemed like the world that voice would come from. And then as I was doing it, I saw Andre and Bruce running around the booth. Like, either I suck or I just got the job.
That's the worst feeling in the world. When they go, hold on 1 second. Okay, we're gonna. No, that's.
I don't know what they're saying about it.
Yeah, that's right.
They're either saying he's awful, or they're saying everyone else was awful. He's wonderful. But so that's how I came up with it. It was literally just an improvised audition, and that's kind of fluky.
All right, another question over here.
Nope.
You've been Batman for longer than I've been alive.
Oh, Brad.
Nice job, dude. Way to go.
Just as a matter of fact, it's a lot longer than I've been alive.
I wanted to know, like you are Batman in my eyes.
There you go.
How long are you going to continue right now?
Oh God, as long as they hire me. When I don't get it, people always say, "Oh, did you retire?" I'm like, "No, I didn't retire. They just decided to try somebody new. They occasionally decide to try somebody new." And what's weird is when they try someone new, they usually say, "Now make it sound like this guy." And I'm like, "Well, this guy's right here. I'm available." But they just want to shake things up. They like to shake things up and try different people.
Which is how I got the Joker. So, you know.
And you're a great Joker.
Thank you. They mix it up. They tend to mix it up.
And I thought it was crazy when they first started doing the live action Batman that they didn't give the franchise to one person. Traditionally, you give the franchise to one person and they build it around it. And then when I saw that Michael Keaton was going to Christian Bale, was going to, actor after actor, I thought this is crazy. But then when I saw all the different versions that he did, I thought this is kind of brilliant, There are so many different ways of interpreting the character.
The point that you were making before about Batman being Shakespearean, I feel the same way about the Joker. He's one of those, these characters are just written and you get a chance to play them like someone gets a chance to play Macbeth or King Lear. And everybody's interpretation is different.
Yep.
It all depends on. What the set looks like, what the director's going for, there's so many different things that apply in that situation, which affects the cast. And it's, I don't know. It always amazes me when they switch it up, and then you go, and then you go, oh, I get it.
Yeah, I can see it from
Yeah.
like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Who saw that coming?
Mark
Who
Hamill
saw
to me
that
was the Joker.
coming?
He is the Joker.
Yeah.
But then Heath Ledger, and I think, what? That's a whole different kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
No, absolutely. I'm just glad that Mark Hamill likes my Joker. That's all. Because his fans are brutal. They're like, this guy stinks. Mark Hamill is. I'm like, Mark Hamill said he liked it, so maybe if you give it a chance. I don't know. Rough, man. Rough.
Now, while we're lining up other questions, John, I have a quick one for you. We had Matthew Wood up on stage yesterday, the voice of General Grievous.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any truth to the rumor that you were possibly going to be the voice of General Grievous?
No, I was the voice of General Grievous. And then I did the voice, and someone, I think it was him, was like, I can do an impersonation of that voice. And they went, oh, well, screw it, we'll just use you. So I kind of, so when people come up to me, they're like, I have a General Grievous for you. I'm like, General Grievous. Here you go, thanks.
We're asking a tough question.
Oh, you want to bend your sign? Come on over here. That's cool. Yeah, I got canned and replaced, which happens all the time, by the way, which also is how I got the Joker. They had someone else in there that wasn't cutting the mustard, Conroy, voice director extraordinaire. It was just like, you know, they were like, we got to do something, and she was like, I got it.
Well, Mark replaced Tim Curry. In the original episodes, it was Tim Curry.
Wow.
Tim Curry was great.
Yeah.
He was just crazy, locked up the kids. Don't let any children watch this show. It was really scary. And they told me Mark was going to replace him, and it was great. Then Mark came in, and suddenly it was crazy, fun, crazy. Oh, this is a whole different world.
Was Tim wearing the fishnet stockings while he was recording? Yeah, that was
Really scary.
yeah, tone it down a little bit, Tim.
All right, questions back here.
Hi guys, my question is actually for John. I love the movie on the Red Hood, and I love your interpretation of the Joker.
Thanks, man. We were just talking about that.
Well, my question is, and you did kind of touch up on it a little bit. How much pressure did you get from fan base? Because I know fans, especially hardcore fans, are unforgivingly brutal.
No, they were brutal. But they were all Mark Hamill die hard. Don't take Mark Hamill away from me or else I'll kill you fans. Everybody else is just like, you know, everybody else has been really kind. The thing is that nobody knew I had it in me. They just thought I was a clown doing the and then I did that and people were like, who is that guy? No. So it was a chance to kind of, to spread my wings a little bit, go in a different direction, play a completely demonic Joker. One I kind of, to put it bluntly, would have fun with you in prison. That kind of Joker. Just a brutal, character. But they were rough. But the best part about it was when Mark was just like, John, I'm telling you, I love your Joker. It's fantastic. It's great. I was like, yes! The approval of the master. Thank you. I didn't want to do anything like, my favorite Joker was Cesar Romero. So like I put just a little bit of Cesar Romero and a whole lot of prison into that Joker. Just because it was, and I didn't want to worry about what everybody else was doing. I wanted to just serve the story and also get the job done because there was a bunch of people that were waiting to finish a project because another actor couldn't pull it off. So I was under the gun. But I had great tutelage with Andre in the booth, and we just went from there. So, thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, they are brutal, man. Rough.
Question on the left. Over here.
Hi, I'm a huge fan of both of you, and I think both of you are really awesome. Thanks. Kevin as Batman in the Arkham games, and then John as Bender and King Zog in Disenchantment.
Ah, yes. You guys watching Disenchantment yet? You trying to jerk out me?
Anyway, so my question was, if you were really a king, would you put a tax on yelling like you did in Innocent 5?
That's the best first Disenchantment question I've ever had. You literally are the first person to ask me about Disenchantment. So, yeah, I think I would have to put a tax on yelling anyway. It wouldn't matter. I'd go broke. But you'd go broke. I'd go totally broke. If I lived in Dreamland, I would have to pay the tax every day. But King Zog, I don't know. That's really a funny question. That's a catch-22, boy. I tell you. All of it, you know, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's the next 10 episodes are going to be great, and they're just about done. We have a little bit of post-production to do on them, so we'll see. And hopefully Netflix will continue to tell the story, you know. So it's nice to keep on streaming. Thank you, everybody. That's cool.
All right, other questions? Come back here.
Hi, so this is a question for Mr. DiMaggio.
Yes, sir.
So, because we both know Kevin is Batman.
Yes.
But for yourself, who out of all of your characters
Bender.
would you say Bender?
Bender.
Both of your guys' characters have raised me, and now we're raising my kids. So I get a lot of calls from the teachers and stuff. So
Yeah, I bet you do. So, good job, buddy. Way to go. First grader, like,
as he's a 4-year-old.
really? He did that as a 4-year-old?
Yeah, it was great. So
Saddens me. I come from a family of teachers, man. That's rough. You got it.
Disenchantment and Batman the animated series, like they both. My oldest is 8, and he's played all the Batman games, so that's great. So thank you both of you for making this great. So
Cheers. We appreciate it.
Back here. Over here, okay.
This question's for John. We are really big Adventure Time fans. These kids pretty much grew up on Adventure Time.
Totally math, dude.
So, 2 questions. How fun was it working on a show that was that weird and that out there? And the second question is, could you sing the Bacon Pancake song?
All right, I'll say the bacon pancake song first, and then we'll get to the question second. So, has everybody got their phones out? Everybody ready? Because that's what happens. He's gonna sing the bacon pancake song. Turn on your phones! All right, ready? Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. I take some bacon and I put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. That last one's a mother, I'll tell you that much. Early. Now, the second question the first question you asked was it fun to work on a show that was that weird and that out there? In the beginning, no. And I'll tell you why. Because as an actor, you want something that's, you want the map kind of laid out for you. So that you understand what's going on and how you see the whole picture in front of you. The way they, usually you get a script that's got stage direction in it, explains what's happening within the storyboard, it explains what's happening in the scene, it explains the mood, and there's other stage direction where you can there's emotion, or something tied to the particular line that you're reading. This was not the case with the show in the beginning. We would get stacks of storyboards, like this, like sent to us, like via Messenger, and this, and then we have a script with just numbers on it, numbered lines, So we have to match the line with the script, and it's like, no, please just tell me what's going on, and I'll do it. This is too much. You're killing trees. You're killing trees to supply me with information that is unneeded. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but you know, Adventure Time, the land of ooh is nuts, and you know, it's just like, you know, your top's Bluebee? What the hell does your top's Bluebee mean? I write that on people. I'm like, your top's Bluebee. I don't know what the hell. But you know, and so it's frustrating to kind of, you know, to be in that world and try and figure it out. And I had great advice from two people. Tom Kenny, who plays the Ice King, who's also SpongeBob SquarePants. Name drop it, watch your feet. But he said, it's this generation's Yellow Submarine. And I was like, wow, okay, I get that. And I was frustrated, I didn't, you know, I would be upset at certain recordings. What's going on? And D. Bradley Baker gave me the best advice, which was, John, listen, what you need to do, and he was really sincere about it, he was like, what you need to do is you need to go home and you need to cry in your bag of money. And I went, you're absolutely right. I could be tarring a roof right now. No, just let it ride. And honestly, the rest of the show, you know, the more we had people in the booth, there were people, you know, people that would explain things that were happening, the better it went better. And the more I did that, the more I paid more attention to Jake and less attention to the land I knew, the better it got for me. And now, like, you know, I cry, you know, I cried at the end of the, you know, my last session. You know, you're gonna cry too. This September 3rd, last Adventure Time episode, the last song, murder. It's just, I'm not crying, you're crying. It's that rough. So yeah, it turned out to be a really special thing because I didn't really realize how much I was a part of Jake and Jake was a part of me until the very end, until it was over. It's rough. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Question here on the right. First of all, I want to thank John for mentioning D. Bradley Baker because I think he's one of the most underrated talents.
He stole my movie.
Yeah.
He stole I Know That Voice. Kevin was in I Know That Voice. He stole the movie. He's one of the top guys. He can do anything. He can do anything. Really talented.
He's great at Conroy.
Yeah.
And secondly, I had a question for both of you. Other than Adriana Romano, of course, what is your favorite cast director to work with? Wes Gleason's great.
It's great.
Lisa Schaefer's fantastic. God, there's some Jack Fletcher is really wonderful. But there's I mean Ken Osborne. Yeah, Ken Osborne was a showrunner for Adventure Time, and he actually really helped me. Getting back to that question before, he really helped me to get into Jake a little more.
But Andrea's unique.
Yeah, Andrea
She loves
actors. Yeah.
Not that the others don't, but she really loves actors, and she always has your back. And she knows how to put things in terms that an actor understands. So it's just, she's very unique. She's in class of her own.
All right, right on the left again.
It's not very high. I have 2 questions.
Yes,
The
sir.
first question is, what do you think of Troy Baker's Joker impression in the Batman games?
I think, well, Troy's a friend of mine. Troy's great. I think Troy's Joker, what's interesting is Troy's Joker is similar, I think it's great. I think his is awesome. And just like we said before, there's an actor for every part, for everything. You know, it doesn't have to remain the same. And his take on it was similar to Mark's, but that's what they wanted. And Mark didn't want to do it. And Troy got Mark's blessing. So I love him. I love that guy. I think he's great. And what's your second question?
My second question is, what are your favorite Marvel movies?
That's very cute.
Are there Marvel movies?
Deadpool.
Yeah.
You can't see Deadpool yet. Give it about 10 years. You'll love it. It's really great. In fact, how old are you? You're 11? Somebody get this kid in the Deadpool for crying out loud. These are 8-year-olds to see Animal House for my birthday. That kid's old enough to see Deadpool. All I know is when I was 10 and I saw that, thank you, God! Yes! The older folks will understand what I'm talking about. You know.
All right, we're gonna come back to the right over here.
Yeah, this question is for both of you as well. I was just wondering, since your roles are so like big parts of your life, do you collect any of like your own memorabilia or have anything from like what you've done as like a kind of memento?
Oh, yeah. Wait, you gotta tell the story about how you lost your TSA 3. No. Speaking of gifts and things that we get, like collectibles.
People bring gifts to the table sometimes, they've done, right? So in Chicago, a fan brought a batarang that he had made in his metal shop out of real, like, wrought iron with a beautifully carved blade. And it was about this long, and it was the Batman symbol, and it was shining silver. And at the end of the Comic-Con, I had an assistant at my table where I had to go straight to the Chicago airport. So I'm going to the airport, and I'm putting all my stuff together, and I didn't realize this, but my assistant takes the batarang and puts it in my money bag, my money pouch. And I take the money pouch and I put it in with my suitcase, and I'm going through TSA, and they go, wait a minute! She says, there's something in there. And I'm looking at the x-ray, and I see this outline of the batarang. They said, oh, let me get it. I said, no. You stand back there. I have to get it. So I'm running through it again. She can't find it. Then she's taking all my bags apart. She's taking everything out. All my underwear's on the belt. My socks are on the belt. And I can't find it. I know there's something in here. Then she opens up and she goes, oh, here it is, with all this cash. Why do you have all this cash? I said, no, that's a batarang. I'm Batman.
Sir, can you get against the wall, please?
So stand over there, the police are coming. The Chicago police arrived. I said, I'm Batman. She said, sure you are. That's what they all say.
Oh,
They were like wiping down my hands for cocaine. They thought I was a drug mule.
But then, were you just like, can I just whip out imdb.com on my phone, please? I'll show you.
No, I had shown you. Someone sent me a picture at Chicago Airport. Now there's a sign up. What is not allowed on planes? And it's a photo of the batarang. Why batarang?
Yeah.
And you know somebody at TSA was like, hey man, this is batarang. I'm gonna take this home. This is for real. I know who he is. I was just at that convention. Hey, all right, man, this is cool. Oh my God.
You understand, I'm Batman. Sure you are.
But we get stuff all the time. Like, I mean, I don't know how many Bender, wind-up benders, the gender bender. I'm a real toughie, I have a Bender that's about that tall from the stage to here. There were only about 10 of them made. So I'm lucky I got one of them. But yeah, there's also, there's ornaments.
Essentially, the Batman, the artwork. Because when we do shows, you by contract have to do advertising for the shows. And when he started doing this in '91, they said, "Would you go do this comic book convention in San Diego?" I've never even heard of these things. We want to promote the show. So I drive down to San Diego, and they said, "Oh, we're not going to pay you, by the way, because you've got to do the advertising for free." So I went down and I did it. And then they started sending me to the opening of these Warner Brothers stores. What are the Warner Brothers stores? And they said to promote the show. So they had galleries on the top floors of those stores, and they would sell cells. And I would go, and they'd have like a cocktail thing, and I'd be promoting the show, and they'd be selling all these cells that they then had me sign. And one of the store managers bragged to at the end of one of these things, said, "Whoa, we just made $50,000 tonight." And I said, "Wait a minute, I'm doing this for free. You made $50,000. So next time Warner Brothers asked me to go to one of these stores, I said, "Come on, you gotta go." I said, No, you're contractually obligated. This is part of your contract. I said, "You gotta give me something that doesn't cost you anything." I said, "How about a cell?" I said, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll give you a cell."
How many cells?
I said, "How about 2 cells?" So they started giving me 2 cells in the beer.
Oh, how many cells do you have?
I've got about 7. And
that's awesome.
Then they started like liking me over time. They let me go in the vault. There's a vault in Warner Brothers where they hold back the like heirloom cells. So I've got like,
oh man,
I've got,
you got the stuff.
Carrot Blanca from Looney Tunes.
Wow.
I've got Hanna-Barbera, signed Hanna-Barbera. Jetsons, Flintstones. I mean, it's cool stuff. See, they could have just given me a couple $100 bucks. I would have been happy with it. That's all.
All right, another one here on the right.
So your guys' roles are, this is a question for both Kevin and John, your guys' roles are absolutely iconic, but if you could go back and change one thing about any of your roles, what would you change?
Wow.
I would, you know what's funny? I came this close to playing Batman.
You did.
I did. In Batman Brave and the Bold.
Oh, really? The one that
the one that Dietrich played, Batman. It was between me and Dietrich for the role of Batman. Dietrich got it. Andre Romano was also the director. And she was like, "Well, you didn't get Batman, but as a consolation prize, you're getting the Aquaman." And that turned out to be the better role, I think, kind of, for that show. So, I would have loved to have gotten a shot to play Batman. But it's okay, because I can do an impression of Dietrich Bader. Which I would do in the booth and scare him. He knew, he was just like, "John, I got Peter. I can't leave you alone in the booth. I need this job." But I don't have any kind of regrets or anything like that.
I don't either. The one thing I did like doing early on was there was a much broader distinction between Bruce Wayne and Batman early on. Bruce Wayne had a lot of sarcasm, a lot of humor. It was a much lighter side. I used David Niven as kind of my image in my head. Very sophisticated. And it was a great, counterbalance to Batman. And Bruce didn't love it, and Andrea loved it. But then because that was the first 6 months before they painted anything. But then the artwork came back and they realized how dark the show was. It was so dark. They said it's jarring. That voice is too jarring. So then when you record the early episodes, just to tone it down. They still liked the distinction, but they wanted to tone down. And it made sense visually in the world they had. But I always liked that earlier take on Bruce Wayne. It was fun. Just as an actor, it's fun to do something a little quirkier.
Right up here in front.
Okay, my question is for both, and it's the same question pretty much. For Kevin, is there an episode of the animated series that you particularly stand out or like? And same question for John. Is there an episode that you particularly enjoy in Futurama?
I have a lot of episodes that I really love because it was so beautifully done. One, I always love any show that investigated the psychology of Batman, because that's what made the character so much fun for me to play. His drama of his youth, his dark psychology, and the episode Perchance to Dream, where he is drugged and he goes back into his childhood. I got to be the voice of Batman and Bruce Wayne, and then drugged Batman, and then Bruce Wayne as a 20-year-old, and then Thomas Wayne, the father. So I was doing 5 voices.
Oh, nice.
And they all had to be similar, related, but distinct. And I was playing scenes, you know, between young Batman and Thomas Wayne with the most interesting actor, myself.
That's it. I think for Futurama, I don't know, particular episodes, rap performance, I don't know, I really kind of enjoyed Amazon Women on the Moon. because I got to work with B. Arthur. And because she played the Femputer. And Bender and the Femputer, they fooled around.
You got it on the
They did it. Yeah, I got it on with the And we had to record together, like, fooling around voices. So I'm going, and she's going, and at one point I actually said to B. Arthur, "Oh yeah, baby, give me some of that." I got to say that to a Golden Girl, which was pretty awesome. That one was great. Bender should not be allowed on television, where I have the nice, speech to the camera about, really, taking care of your kids and sitting them down and hitting them. That one was great. That one was fun. As far as like, the show itself, I mean, nobody wants to talk about Seymour, Jurassic Park, but that was just an amazing, 21 minutes of comedy and 1 minute of devastating tears. But yeah, I mean the Bender just, I don't know, I always liked it when he got emotional. And then, then completely did a 180 and started laughing in someone's face. That was a lot of fun. The schizophrenia of his actions were always fun to play. I mean, that was kind of across it. Those episodes stand out.
But you touched on something that's so interesting about, and so we're so lucky to work with so many actors from so many different generations.
Yeah.
Like B. Arthur.
Yeah. No, I
and,
know.
And in Batman. In Justice League, the new Justice League, the one that's just started. Cloris Leachman from the Granny Gulch.
Oh, man.
Cloris Leachman.
Yeah.
She's like a legend.
Frau Blucher.
I know.
You're all she was just so
She's
funny.
incredible. And Michael and Sarah as Mr. Freeze. I mean, the people we get to work with. Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Yeah, that's
a sweet guy.
That's a trip. That's a trip.
All right, time for one more. Right here.
Actually, I have a question for both of you guys. John, the first time I heard you for the show here in was on Futurama. But then we heard you go on and play on Experience.
Yes.
And my question was, like, how do you go from like happy, jolly characters, funny characters like Bender and Jake? Like, do you have to use a certain mode to play something?
Prescription drugs. No. I don't know. It's just one of those things that just comes naturally. And then when you see the script in front of you, and you see the folks that you're working with, you just kind of get right into it. You're ready.
I think a lot of it has to do with being able to be childlike. Yeah.
That's what acting is really about. Because when little kids, before the world screws them up, are so emotional. You know, and they can go from A to Z to B to D. They're all over the room.
Yeah.
And then the world tells you, calm down. You know, straighten up. And I think Aruba and Andrea always compares us to children in the recording studio.
Yeah, no,
because we do behave like
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
But that's the emotional range that you have.
Yeah.
The facile problem of going from one to the other, the other, the other. I think it's challenging.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really something that you just hit. Because that.
You are definitely like, you're like a big kid.
Yeah, I know.
You are no
totally. Yeah, absolutely. But
and that's a good thing.
No, it is. As an actor, that's actually a really good thing because there are less things holding you back. You know, when you're the less bias you have towards doing something, you know, with emotion, the better off you're able to get there. The road is clear. You know,
the more dangerous it feels, the better.
Yeah. The more you're on the tightrope.
Absolutely.
The second part? Did you have a second part?
I was curious how fun was it to be in a recording with audition?
It's a dangerous place.
Why do you think he got a battering from it? That's
With a razor blade.
Yeah, that's it. He's ready.
No, he physicalizes. I haven't done Joker with you. You probably do the same thing. But Mark really physicalizes Joker. He's like, you know that Jim Carrey kind of rubbery face thing? That's Mark in the booth. He's like, woo, that hit. And then I was like, whoa, stay over there. And then the spit's flying. But he's the wonderful thing about Mark is I sense when he's watching me, I sense such love in his eyes. I sense that he loves when I'm here. And I know he feels it for me when I'm watching him. There's a generosity with certain actors are people. There's generous ones, selfish ones, kind ones, mean ones. They're just like people. Generous actors are the most wonderful people in the world because they really love to watch another actor. And also because you know that person's going to give you so much more to react to. And Mark is just one of those people. It's a continuous circuit of energy. You know what I mean? So the ego doesn't get in the way. Other actors, the ego gets in the way. You know what I mean?
I mean, case in point, like I was saying before, Mark came up to me and went, you know, oh my God, John, I love your Joker. It's a great take, great job. Like, and for someone who has done a role for that long, to be kind enough to come and give you a compliment on your work, like that's above and beyond the call. He didn't have to say shit to me. He didn't have to say a word, and yet he reached out. Stop me. You know, that kind of generosity, you know, and you learn from that. It inspires you. Like they're doing a live action Kim Possible, and my buddy Todd Stashwick is playing Dr. Draken, and like he called me up, and I was like, dude, I heard, bro, congratulations, this is great, man. You're gonna rock this. And he was on the other end of the line going, oh man, this is the blessing that I didn't know I really needed, but I'm getting it, you know? Like, when you're able to do that for someone, it just, you pass it along, you know, there's something important about that. And he's great, Mark is great.
No.
Well, Kevin, John, it's been amazing. I'm sure you all have many other questions, but you're going to have to get them over those. They are down here.
Is there an Orange Julius here? That's all I need to know. Is there an Orange Julius? There is? Oh my God, I'm all over it.
One more round of applause for
Thank you, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very, very important announcement. So what we're going to do is everyone's going to